Describe in single words only the good things that come into your mind. About your mother?
My mother?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my mother.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everybody, to a very spooky episode of the High Tech Low Life podcast with your scary hosts, Eric, and I hate this, Josh. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
We were both working in the lab late one night, watching a terrible movie for your listening something.
I don't know, man.
This week we're covering Jason X. I think I can make a very strong argument that it is a very cyberpunk movie and that it checks all the necessary boxes. I don't think that makes it in any way viable as an artistic work.
No. I couldn't. It's definitely got a lot of things that we see in cyberpunk movies, like more so than a lot of the shit we've watched, especially recently on this show.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it also entirely lacks talent.
David Cronenberg's in it. He's got talent. Maybe not the talent that was expressed in this movie.
No, not so much.
Anyway, we'll get to that here in a moment. Before we do that, how's everybody's Halloween going? That's coming up in a few days, and that's why we watched this movie.
That's like the day after this episode drops. Happy Goth Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing because it's in the middle of the week. And I did go to this kind of segues into the recommendos, but we went to like a mini party with some of Farah's friends last night, my wife, and watched scary movies.
Oh, yeah? What were the scary movies?
Well, one of which is going to be my recommendo. The other which was called... it was called The Deliverance, not to be confused with Deliverance.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Deliverance.
That's also kind of a scary movie, but yeah. Sure.
I didn't care for it. Don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I don't know. I just seen too many demonic possession movies lately, and maybe I was just burned out on demonic possession. All the various Russell Crowe demonic possession movies I've been watching.
Did you end up watching The Pope's Exorcist?
Oh, yeah, I loved The Pope's Exorcist.
Okay, cool, good.
Not to be confused with just Exorcism. The Exorcism.
Yeah.
Also starring Russell Crowe, looking exactly the same, came out the same year. That's a bad movie, but The Pope's Exorcist was actually
fucking rules.
Even beyond like Russell Crowe-iness, it was actually pretty good. Like it was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it's total goddamn nonsense, but fucking Russell Crowe, apparently I love people playing offensive Italian stereotypes.
Yeah.
Because, like, that movie and then fucking Jared Leto in House of Gucci are, like...
It's like the one culture we can still all make offensive stereotypes of.
Yeah, roughly.
I mean, that and Germans. I mean, Germans are always going to be on the table. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I can say that because I descended from them.
And the Brits.
Oh, yeah, obviously the Brits and Americans for that matter.
Okay, good. We've still got a bunch.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Spaniards with their sangria mouths. How about that?
Sure. Before we rock and roll into recommendos, let's do some quick dystopia talk. There's an election coming up very soon as this releases. We'll have one more episode before it.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. I'm sure nothing bad's going to happen afterwards, no matter who wins.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't know. I
Can
think.
I be honest about something though?
What's that?
I don't know if it's a general numbness that's overtaken me, or maybe, or just the vibes aren't as off. But I'm not as worried about this election as I was in 2020.
Yeah, me neither. And I think it's probably a combination of both numbness and I don't know. I have very specifically noticed a lot fewer Trump signs just as I've been around compared to 2020. But I don't
is all circumstantial. It doesn't really mean anything. But
I mean, I haven't seen I haven't, been going around surprised like, oh shit, Harris Waltz everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much usual, which we're in a pretty liberal city. So we see there's always more of that around. I don't know, man. I guess maybe part of it is that I don't know. We did 4 years of Trump.
Yeah.
At least if we did 4 more years, it's going to activate some liberals, you might hope, and B, ostensibly he'll be done after 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried about Trump winning in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Both this person is dangerously unstable and deeply stupid.
Easily manipulatable by smarter people around him. Yeah.
So that's kind of an understandable threat. It's like if you're playing a strategic board game like Risk or something like that, you always kind of have to be on the lookout for people who don't know how to play the game.
Right. Yeah.
Because they will do insane
even
things.
Poker. Poker is big on that too. A newbie can,
they'll do insane things that you can't, a skilled player can't predict and can wipe you out of the game, with just I never considered that strategy because it could
That's
never.
not a strategy.
It's not a long-term strategy. You can't win the game with that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So that's kind of, at this point, we kind of understand that he is an insane idiot. So, I mean, we know he's in the game and that's how he's playing. So you can be defensive against some of that stuff.
Yeah.
On the other hand, because he is clearly undergoing has undergone a pretty serious cognitive decline compared to 4 years ago or 8 years ago, where he was already insane and stupid.
Yeah, you can listen to audio clips and it's clear his mind isn't working the same way.
No, and
maybe it's the COVID.
It would be, it wouldn't be the most difficult thing in the world for him to get into office and then, the first time he tells somebody on the inner team no about something, they 25th Amendment his ass, and we get J.D. Vance, who is a worse version of what I was worried about with Mike Pence.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
I would rather have Pence as president than J.D. Vance,
which is saying
a horrible choice that nobody should have to make, but it's pretty easy one too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mike Pence knows how to order a fucking donut.
Yeah. Anyway,
and order some for Mother.
This conversation hasn't explained why I'm less worried about it, but
you're too busy focused on Arnold Palmer's fucking wang. Is that it?
Sure. Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. I guess it's I don't know, man.
Yeah.
The world's gonna keep turning no matter what, and I don't think the boots on the ground type work that's going to need to be done is going to need to be done no matter who is president, right?
Yeah.
Things will be I think slightly better if Harris is president. But
well, I mean, for people in my, and I think to to a large extent your position, this is not about getting somebody we want as the president. This is about getting somebody who we want to fight against.
right, it's choosing your adversary.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of something like that, I wanted to bring up the. Did you see the Star Spangled Banner singing at the debate for the third party candidates?
I did not.
Oh,
Based on the fact that you're bringing it up, I can only imagine it's insane. Please go ahead.
Depending on how motivated I am, maybe I'll drop it in right here.
Who's brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets, red glare. I fucked it up. Can I go back, please? Bombs bursting, and I got too nervous. Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
But it's this woman who didn't know they were live, and she's singing it, and she kind of messes up one of the notes, and she goes, I fucked it up. Can we redo that? Can we please redo that? And the guy's like, this is live. And then and she keeps singing a little more, and then she like tries to apologize mid the next. She's like, sorry, didn't know. And as she's singing, and then she just does a horrible fucking job of the end of it.
That sounds like a third-party candidates debate.
And you've got Jill Stein like standing there in the dark watching, and then the whoever the fucking libertarian guy is, and some other dudes, and it's fucking hilarious. Go look for it.
It sounds like something off of Veep.
Really, it's like an SNL sketch or something, except funnier than an SNL sketch would be. One more quick thing I wanted to bring up before we go to recommendos, since we probably have time. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Right before I got on, I was on X, the everything app.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You're
saw
doing your banking through it, I assume now?
Oh, yeah.
Banking, video calls.
Raising my children through it.
Yeah. Reporting immigrants.
I saw that Ashley Simpson was trending.
Okay.
And so obviously I'm clicking on that. I'm a big Ashley head. Mm-hmm. And I saw everybody enraged that Ashley Simpson was on this list of the top 10 female singers of all time. If you'd like, I'll read the list for you.
Okay. I'm
sure you'll agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is in order.
What was this published on?
Well, I'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
That's the dystopian part.
Okay. Yes, I forgot this was still dystopia talk.
Right. So number 1, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, 1 and 2. I can buy that.
Sure. Yeah.
JoJo, Lady Gaga,
JoJo Siwa.
That's not JoJo Siwa. I don't recognize her. I don't know. I'm not up on that type of music. Aretha Franklin.
Sure.
Beyonce. Then Ashley Simpson. All right. Then Tina Turner, Adele, and Addison Rae. That's a terrible list of the top 10 female singers of all time.
Okay. I do not know the catalogs of JoJo, whoever that might be.
I don't either. But she's number 3 on this. So apparently
I have seen the name Addison Rae before.
She is a TikToker recently turned pop star.
Okay.
She's pretty good.
Okay.
For having put out like 1 EP or something.
Yeah. And then
probably not enough to get her on the top 10 female singers of all time list.
Yeah, probably not. And then I don't know if I do know I have heard an Ashley Simpson song, if only because I watched that video of her failing to lip sync.
Yeah,
on
her
Saturday
little
Night
hoedown
Live.
on SNL.
Yeah,
that's what she's most famous for.
As far as I know, that's the only thing of hers that I know.
Right, and here's the thing. So I'm like, why the fuck is this trending?
Yeah.
Everybody's just lists of people raging that Ashley Simpson is rated higher than Tina Turner.
Yeah.
And then I see it was posted by an account called Rock History at historyrock_ free plug Rock History.
Okay.
It's just some random fucking blue check dude who made a little graphic and posted it, and everybody got upset like it matters.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
okay.
clearly rage bait. Like,
yeah. Okay.
You don't put Addison Rae on a top 10 female singers list. Like, no matter how good she is, she's been around for 10 minutes. And it's so clearly rage bait, and hundreds of thousands of people fell for it. And I think that's kind of dystopian.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I don't know. It seems like it's, in terms of construction, it's pretty good rage bait.
Yeah, it is, because there's some real
bunch of
ones on here.
A bunch of the people on that list, I would totally buy to be in the top 10 of fucking Rolling Stones, top 500 female singers or whatever.
Yeah, Mariah and Whitney in the top 5, I would never argue with.
Yeah, Aretha, Tina. I mean,
even Gaga.
Even Gaga and Beyonce.
Even Adele.
Yeah, even Adele. If you're doing a list that skews, real modern, sure, that she's got a very good fucking voice. Like, none of that would be, like, any of those could be top 10, top 15 of a serious person's list. Undoubtedly everybody would have issues with it. But then the insertion of somebody who's so brand new that I've only ever seen the name, I probably haven't heard a song, Addison Rae. Don't know what a JoJo is. And then Ashley Simpson is, like, construction-wise, that is a good bit.
It's just everybody, I hope I'm not mistaking and printing fake news, but I cannot find a deeper source than this Rock History blue check page, which is just a content farm as far as I can see.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They've got
Twitter.
A blue check. They're going to get paid for, engagements. And then all these other blue checks are engaging with it. And it's just this fucking dumb bot rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And it has rendered this website absolutely worthless to humanity.
Yeah, it's really impressive how, I don't know, it's honestly just deeply impressive how far down Twitter has gone.
Well, I mean, we knew, any smart human knew that taking out the verification system for paid, paid blue check was bad and going to ruin the site. But I don't think I realized just how quickly and aggressively it would turn it to a trash, useless website.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stuff I miss out on because I have tuned my internet experience to what I want, which is on Twitter. I would never consider, other than very accidentally slip of the finger, going to trending or, stuff like that. It's just, that's not how I want to use the internet. Or, like, I only ever look at the you are following and in timeline order.
Well, I think the only reason people are still on Twitter is because they still have their follow lists.
Yeah, and since I get the fringes of that, like people talking about it, my experience has changed clearly for the worse because so many good people have left it. And of course, I'm constantly flooded with exciting messages about
the pussy in bio.
The wet pussies of people on my block.
Yeah.
Who, weirdly enough, seem to be Kazakhstani.
I didn't know you'd moved to Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
I click the what's happening or the trending box once in a while, mainly when something piques my curiosity, like seeing Ashley Simpson, who hasn't been relevant in 20 years. And like, why are people talking about Ashley Simpson? And it turns out they're just picking on her because some asshole put her name on a list.
Yeah.
She really didn't deserve anything.
Yeah, that's 2024 internet, bro.
Yeah, go to Bluesky, everybody. It's much nicer over there.
Yeah.
All right, let's do recommendos real quick. Do you have any?
I do. It is entirely out of this show's purview. Last night, rather than watch Jason X again, I watched a movie called Going in Style. Cool. Have you ever heard of this movie?
No.
Okay, it's a 1979 movie. It's written and directed by Martin Brest, a guy who wrote and directed huge movies: Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, Scent of a Woman, Geely.
I've heard of all of those.
Yeah. It's his first feature film, and it stars some guys who are 1,000% well within our genre of films. Lee Strasberg.
Okay.
He played Hyman Roth in The Godfather 2. he developed the method acting.
Oh, okay.
Art Carney, the second banana from The Honeymooners.
Yes.
And of course, our show's guiding light, George Burns.
Yes, very much. Most cyberpunk man that's ever lived.
Yes. It's a really wonderful movie about three old guys who decide to rob a bank.
Oh, fun. Never mind. Go ahead.
It also, anyway, I strongly recommend this movie. It is much better and funnier than it has any right to be. Also, it has, I can't remember, I looked it up last night. It has the guy who out of fucking nowhere, the son of the Art Carney character is played by the guy whose chest opened up and ate the doctor's arms on The Thing.
Oh, neat. It ties it in.
Yeah, tied it in. I was pretty happy about that.
Interesting. I've got literally nothing to say about that. I've got no opinion or frame of reference for it.
Sure, that's fair. It was totally random.
What's it called again?
Going in Style.
Going in Style.
It was apparently directed by Zach Braff in 2017 with Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Michael Caine, and I do not remember who.
I vaguely remember this remake now that you're mentioning it. Some other old guy.
Yeah. Apparently it is god-awful trash.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Let me do my recommendo real quick. It does kind of tie into what we watched today, actually. And I might reference it back several times. Mm-hmm. Because it is a horror film of the horror comedy variety, and it was called The Blackening.
Okay.
Did you see it?
No, I don't think so. The title rings a bell. Like I think I saw something about it, maybe?
Yeah, it's a horror film where all the characters are black people, and it's kind of like Scream, where it's kind of, self-referential. Self-referential.
Yes.
And referencing other horror movies and stuff, only it's from the perspective of black people who traditionally in horror films are abused, I guess.
Yeah, they're the first to go out traditionally.
It was very funny. I expected it to be funnier. I thought it was going to be more of a spoof. It's not. It's kind of seriously done as like a slasher movie.
Okay, looking at it on Google, I definitely remember seeing like the trailer for it.
Yeah,
and like the poster, because the tagline was "We can't all die first."
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I thought it was very funny, and especially after just watching Jason X, which I think they're both trying to do the same thing. Jason X was trying to be a serious horror movie with funny moments, and I think, and The Blackening did it well. It wasn't like ever scary, but they could build tension. They could be like, what's behind that door, and make you care for the characters. It made you care for the characters.
Okay, well, that is a huge step up over the film we watched this week.
Yeah. So I thought it was fascinating after having just watched the pile of shit we're about to cover. Plus, even that notwithstanding, it was very funny and recommend.
Okay, good. That's I have a soft recommendo, more in terms of something that I would kind of like to discuss with people. I watched Beetlejuice.
Oh, my wife watched that the other day while I was editing this podcast, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Well, not this one. That's going to happen in the future. The previous. You get it.
Wait, what? You're not editing live?
I'm editing. I mean, I do technically do that, but I'm editing last week's episode as we record this one.
Yeah. That's how much of your attention Jason X deserves. I watched Beetlejuice. It had some fun and pleasing things about it. Like, Michael Keaton's killing it in every scene. He's fucking Beetlejuice.
Sure.
Because
he's fucking Beetlejuice. Nice.
Yeah. It's a really interesting movie in terms of, you can tell they had like 3 separate scripts that went in entirely different directions, and they just sort of bolted them all together, and like characters disappear for a whole plot disappears for a full third of the fucking movie. It's also,
I heard there are way too many storylines in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, and a lot of like either unresolved or suddenly this gets resolved with absolutely no build-up type shit. Also related to something we were talking about on the Discord voice chat the other night. It really is. There's some stuff that's very clearly Tim Burton working out his kinks.
Oh boy.
He likes a sexy lady reassembling herself from disparate parts.
That's
it's a weird, like, it is a weirder thing than Quentin's foot thing.
Now I feel like you need to go back and watch other Burton movies and see if there's more examples of it.
Like, while I was watching this one specific scene, I was like, oh my God, I have seen this. It is in Mars Attacks. It is in the fucking Nightmare Before Christmas, which he didn't direct, but he produced. It's in Corpse Bride. Like, it is.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's.
What a weird specific fetish.
I know. And also just a creepy one, because it requires somebody to be dismembered beforehand. It's.
We're going into, what's his name? Army Hammer territory.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching this scene, and I'm like, oh my God, this is he clearly spent like months mentally planning this shot. It is the most,
and jerking it.
It is the most thought through thing. Like, you watch this scene and you go, oh yeah, we're definitely dealing with a Hitchcock Icy Cold Blonde, Quentin with his feet thing.
One of his main characters had scissors for hands, perfect for chopping up ladies.
Oh my God, that I didn't even think of, but yes. Yeah, it's deeply weird. Like, and I mean, there was stuff I liked about the movie. Willem Dafoe is fun as shit. Like, you know.
We got a recommendo to watch with Willem Dafoe in it that I haven't sent to you yet, but it's got they included some screenshots of very baby Willem Dafoe. It looks awesome.
Oh, okay, cool. That sounds exciting. I would like, sort of like with Alien Romulus last week, I would like to be able to discuss Beetlejuice with somebody who's seen it.
We need to do just like a Patreon up where we just talk about movies spoiler with, just spoiler alert at the top and get some thoughts out.
And also my final recommendo is just a follow on from last week. I've started and nearly finished the Nick Harkaway book that came out this week called Carla's Choice. It's a spy novel set in the early 60s. He's writing it in the style of his father, John le Carré, and it is very fucking good.
So last week it was a pre-Comindo.
Yeah.
This week it's a mid-Comindo, and next week it's going to be a post-Nintendo.
Sure, let's go with that.
Sorry, I ruined your plug about your nice little book by making it gross.
It's a very good book.
All right. Speaking of very good pieces of art, let's talk about Jason X. Yeah? Did you?
I mean, if
kill yourself?
If we were going to talk about very good pieces of art, I'm waiting for the piece of art to show up.
Yeah. Here's what's weird. I mentioned this to you on text because sometimes we watch stuff that's so bad, Josh and I can't help to do pre-show in text. And
yeah, we burn material.
We do. And this one, it just so happened that we, on accident, started watching it at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
So we basically did a Patreon watch-along via text. But once we got off, we hopped on the Astronomica Discord. Shout out to those guys. Sorry for our listeners invading you, but also keep doing it.
Yeah. It's been truly mildly threatening this week. Somebody just shows up and says, "Hey, we're here because we listen to High Tech Low Life." Oh shit.
We have audio evidence of Jeff encouraging that.
Yeah.
But we got on there, and some people liked or had fond memories, at least, of Jason X. And then, like the party I was at last night, it was brought up, and somebody said, "Oh, it's my favorite Friday the 13th movie." And these aren't people with bad taste. These are people with pretty good taste in stuff. So what did we miss?
I honestly don't know. And one of the things we were watching on the Discord, a 1981 film called Skullduggery, which is available on YouTube. It is produced for about $4. It doesn't seem to make any sense at all, but it does have an original song, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I would have honestly preferred to rewatch that movie than to watch Jason X again. This week, people, I feel like I have truly failed in my remit as a media reviewer for this show. I could not handle the psychic violence of watching fucking Jason X again last night. So I have watched this movie once, which is
saying something
unheard of.
You watched Cyber Vengeance twice, maybe
and
three
Cyborg.
times.
Yeah.
Cyborg is a better movie than Jason X.
This is maybe the worst viewing experience I have had on this podcast. I think it's probably right up there. Like, it is in the running with the absolute worst garbage we have covered.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick a worst, but at least Cyborg was a movie.
Yeah, and it had some
Jean-Claude Van Damme cared to act a role.
Yeah, it had some vaguely fun shit going on, like the lead pirate actor guy.
Yeah.
That guy's not giving a good performance, but he's given something interesting to watch on TV.
Yeah, big yelly man who's screaming all the time.
Yeah.
And same with Cyber Vengeance. Cyber Vengeance is a fun bad movie, kind of like the one you just mentioned that we watched on the Discord.
Skullduggery.
Yeah, Skullduggery is I can recognize a fun bad movie. I don't recognize that with Jason X. I recognize something trying really hard to be funny and failing at with like three exceptions. There were three jokes that got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And just before we started recording the episode, I was in the shower and racking my brain. Like, what are viewpoints that I can have about this movie that aren't this stinks? I mean, it's, because it, in the very base Jay Sherman sense, stinks. Also buy my book. Yeah. But, and it really what came to me was that, okay, even things like Cyber Vengeance. Okay, that movie cost $5. It's made by somebody who does not have a good handle on how to calibrate actors' performances. He doesn't have a great handle on where to put the fucking camera or how to shoot things.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the entire movie is a series of deliberate choices. Like, this guy came at it from effectively first principles. Like, I have a camera. I have these people who are going to be reading the script, which is insane, but don't worry about that. Like, and he's making choices, which a lot of them are the wrong fucking choices.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing things very poorly. But Jason X is somehow, it's making no choices about it. Like, it's...
No, it's more... it's technically more competent.
Yeah, it's like they clearly... This was apparently a $15 million movie.
Damn.
They spent like a lot of money. Like, there are a bunch of sets that they built. This isn't the guy went into Colonial Williamsburg on an off weekend.
Yeah.
And shot a bunch of shit. They have a bunch of sets and fancy CG and shit.
Yeah, the CG like wasn't awful for 2001.
I mean, for 2001, it was fucking fine. And it's truly mystifying how, because I was really thinking about, okay, so there is a formula to a lot of entertainment. I'm not huge into like slasher movies and stuff, but this movie clearly adheres to slasher formula. Okay.
Yeah.
You can, in certain types of stories, things can break down to just kind of math. Okay. You have this many characters, this happens, then this happens, then this happens. It's like, and a lot of entertainment can be really good at that. That's how, some of the, especially like TV shows, some of the very best TV shows of all time are all about this very, a very basic story formula. Like even Columbo movies, like you watch about 4 of them and then you have effectively seen every Columbo plot, but every episode is entertaining because people are doing things within that, hard outlined grid math. Okay.
Yeah. It's like a D&D dungeon crawl kind of.
Yeah. It really is. And in this movie, it's the same thing. Like, it's just this clear math where I could have predicted the end of the movie 20 minutes in.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
When that kid gets his arm cut off.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear it's going to get regenerated, and Jason's going to end up in that regeneration machine somehow and become more powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like there are any choices in this movie at all. They were just going like, it was just entirely 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 1 = 3, so on and so forth, as opposed to, well, what if somebody gave an interesting performance?
Well, it's it's the same movie 3 times. Like 3 times there is a group of people lost in the ship that for some reason has to separate into singles and then gets killed one by one. That happens 3 fucking times, and it's the same ship, and it's the same sets, and it's the same kills, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and it could be like people's enjoyment of this movie and my complete incomprehension of that could be because I am not fluent and invested enough in the slasher genre.
Yeah, I'm never been a fan either.
I'm willing to accept that this could be on me, but as somebody who is not like, I've seen I have no idea how many, a bunch of Jason films, like, I don't know, 4, 5, at least in large part. But I don't know. And maybe it's a matter of I don't appreciate the subtleties. Actually, this could be another bit of kind of the anime problem where I don't have the context to appreciate what's going on, but it
I doubt
seems
it.
so bad.
I feel like if we had more time and you didn't have such a crazy week, that for Patreon we should watch John Carpenter's Halloween before actual Halloween, because that's a competent slasher film, right?
Yeah, that's a great fucking movie.
Just to compare, just to point out everything this movie did wrong. See, I think they really wanted to do a comedy, and they almost did. Like, there are some times where it feels like a Naked Gun style spoof.
I felt them straining towards, what if we did a Jason Scream?
Yeah. Well, nice. Scream, once again, is a competent horror movie too at the end of the day.
It really is.
Like they didn't. Well, Jason broke all his rules. Like the whole point about Scream is that these horror movies have rules, and Jason X doesn't really follow any of the original rules set out by the franchise. But like Scary Movie was what I was thinking.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a movie we both love. As far as I remember, I think we both saw it in the theater, if I'm not mistaken.
We did. I think we smoked cigarettes in that
I think we did smoke cigarettes in that theater. Because in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you're in an empty theater, it's a smoking theater.
Yes. Also, in the late 90s, if you're fucking poor, you go to the movie theater because there is a movie playing and it has air conditioning.
Yes, that too. But we walked out of Scary Movie having fucking loved it. I remember that.
Yeah.
And so do that. Do a spoof of a slasher movie. They've been done. They've been done successfully.
I think you. Yeah, that's a much better thought out than they were trying to do a Scream.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was before this, right?
Scream, I think
90 so. Or Scary Movie. That was like 99 or 2000.
It was like right around this. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think it was after 2000. I'm just trying to remember where I lived when we watched it. I think it was the year 2000 probably. I guess we do both have fucking phones.
That's true.
And July 7th, 2000.
Ah, okay. All right. Pre 9/11. Mid Confederate flag controversy.
Yes. So maybe late in the game of production, they're like, let's try to do that. But I don't know. It's not funny enough.
No, it's
really not scary enough to be a horror movie. So what the fuck is it?
That's a good question. And okay, so here's a bit. You can veto this if you want. This would have been a better bit had the movie been watchable.
Yeah.
Because I had planned out, like, before I watched the movie, I was like, okay, let me look this up on Wikipedia and like let me check out where this is in the Friday the 13th franchise. And there is a Wikipedia article just on the Friday the 13th franchise with a, like, I don't know, 3-4 paragraph setup that goes over the broad strokes of every Friday the 13th movie leading up to this one.
Okay.
And
if you have it up, is this the final Jason movie that was ever made? No, there were Freddy versus Jason's.
Yeah. Yeah, there was Freddy versus Jason, then they rebooted it, and maybe there was another one after Freddy versus Jason. But I thought it might be interesting to go over, like, what the series was up until this point.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Oh boy, this is prepared.
This is. Okay, so in the original Friday the 13th, 1980, Pamela Voorhees stalks and murders a bunch of teenagers at Camp Crystal Lake. She is determined to ensure that the camp does not reopen after her son Jason drowned in the lake due to the negligence of some staff members.
Right.
She kills a bunch of people and eventually is decapitated by the final girl of that movie. And then at the very end, Jason bursts out of a lake.
Yeah. Which, I'm not going to lie, as a young person, scared the fucking shit out of me.
Oh, yeah. And that's actually a really interesting thing that like right at the end credits, jump scare thing. That's really interesting because as far as I know, that 1000% originated with Brian De Palma's Carrie movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where at the very end of the movie, you're zooming in on the Carrie's grave, and then suddenly a fucking hand bursts out. And then it's like cut to credits.
And now it's a pretty common.
And now it's it was for a long time every fucking horror movie. So, Friday the 13th, Part 2, Jason is revealed to be alive and full grown. He kills the girl from the girl survivor of the last movie.
The final one.
Yeah. And returns to Crystal Lake to guard it from all intruders. 5 years later, a group of teenagers arrive at Crystal Lake to be trained as camp counselors, but Jason murders them. Then there's another girl who lasts till the end, and she finds a cabin in the woods with a shrine built around the severed head of Mrs. Voorhees.
Nice.
The girl fights back and slams a machete through Jason's shoulder. Jason is left for dead as the girl is taken away by an ambulance. Oh, no. They should have made sure he was dead. Then, Friday the 13th, Part 3. Jason removes the machete from his shoulder and goes to a local homestead. The owner of the homestead arrives with some teens. And Jason kills everybody in the barn where he's who comes to the barn where he's hiding. This is the point at which he gets his hockey mask.
Oh, nice.
Because in the first couple of movies, in the second movie, Jason's like all deformed, and it's designed to indicate someone who is mentally handicapped. God, it's hard to
felt bad about it.
Yeah, and also it probably got tiring to put all that makeup on.
True.
So he takes a hockey mask from one of the victims, and then leaves the barn to go kill the rest of the group. A guy chops Jason in the head with an axe, and then she goes crazy as the police take her away. Friday the 14th, 4, the final chapter. Notably, we're only in 1984 now.
Yeah, it came out back to back to back.
Yeah. Continues where Part 3 left off, with Jason being found by police and taken to the local morgue after removing the axe. Upon arrival, Jason wakes up at the morgue and kills the coroner and her nurse before going back to Crystal Lake again. A group of teens rents a house, and they fall victim to Jason, including in this movie. This is the one with Corey Feldman. He lives next door to Camp Crystal Lake, and Corey Feldman eventually kills Jason. I think that one was with a machete again? I don't know. I don't remember.
Fine.
Then, 1985, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, follows Tommy Jarvis, who was committed to a mental health institution after the events of the final chapter. Tommy Jarvis was Corey Feldman. He's not played by Corey Feldman in this movie. Don't worry
Corey
about
Feldman's
it. It's
way
fine.
too hot to do a sequel to a horror movie at this point.
In fucking 1985? Yeah, he's got
he's got to get his license to drive.
He's got to get his license to drive. He's got to go to, what's the name of the town in Lost Boys? Anyway.
I don't know.
All the goddamn vampires. He follows him after he leaves an institution and grew up constantly afraid that Jason would return. Then a guy uses Jason's persona to become a copycat killer at the halfway house that Tommy is in. Let's see. A female supervisor manages to defeat him and eventually learn that Roy had a son who was murdered by one of the other patients at the institution, triggering Roy to take on Jason's likeness and kill everyone there. That's the end of the movie? I don't know. I didn't see that one.
No, maybe.
Part 6, Jason Lives, 1986.
Oh my God.
I know. remember, this is Jason X. This is Jason 10 that we watched.
I might just have you start doing this and then like edit in the SpongeBob a million years later.
Yeah, that seems fine. I think this is very important context.
Yes.
Okay, so Jason Lives begins with Tommy visiting Jason's grave after being released from another mental institution. This is the third person to play Tommy, by the way. Tommy inadvertently resurrects Jason with a piece of the fence surrounding the cemetery acting as a lightning rod. See, I do remember this. He's like, oh, fuck you, Jason, and just stabs a piece of a fence into the ground, like over where Jason's grave is, and then lightning strikes it.
Oh.
And Jason comes back to life. So he immediately goes back to Crystal Lake and starts killing people working the summer camp again.
What he does. Probably
Tommy eventually chains Jason to a boulder that he tosses into the lake, where he leaves Jason, who is revealed to be still alive in the bottom of the lake.
Of course.
Yeah. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, 1988. They took a year break between 6 and 7, probably because they really needed to, really work through it and like really wanted to get this plot nailed down
on this one.
Airtight.
Yeah.
The New Blood begins an indeterminate amount of time after Jason Lives. Jason's resurrected again. This is the first time Jason is played by an actor named Kane Hodder, who will play Jason in Jason X, and he is the actor who is most commonly associated with Jason.
Okay.
FYI. So anyway, Jason is resurrected again by telekinetic Tina Shepard, who is trying to resurrect her father, who Tina caused to drown in the lake when she was a child. Jason once again kills those who occupy Crystal Lake and is returned to the bottom of the lake after a battle with Tina.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, great.
I just suddenly felt really guilty for my part in making you have to talk about Jason this much.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think I suggested this.
You did. I accept that. And I also take some of this onto myself. Like I could have literally stopped that movie at 45 minutes in and gone, I am not talking about this. Fuck you. We're having an off week.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I've known Josh longer than I've known most other people that aren't directly related to me. And I don't think we've ever discussed this film franchise or
no.
Like we've spent hours working together. We were roommates for a long time.
We've done hundreds of hours of podcasts.
Hundreds and hundreds. And I don't think Jason, other than our friends named Jason, of which there were a few, has ever come up in conversation as a concept. And I just felt bad all of a sudden. Like,
well, thank you. And like I said, this was not forced on me. I could have bailed at any goddamn
That's
time.
True. We always have a ripcord.
Yeah.
In the show. We pulled it once with Brain Scan.
Yeah.
Which was a better movie than this, I might say.
It was. Yeah. Okay. Now we're getting to the fucking meat of it. This is the next coming up is the Jason movie I remember the most. Jason is resurrected again in Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Ah, that's the one I'm most familiar with. It's my first rated R movie that I saw in a theater. I actually loved it when I was,
fair
10 or whatever the fuck, I was 12.
Jason is resurrected by an underwater electrical cable. He follows a group of students on their senior class cruise to Manhattan, where he kills the ship's crew and the majority of students. Upon reaching Manhattan, Jason chases Rennie and Sean, the two remaining students, into the sewers. Jason eventually melts away when the sewer is flooded with toxic waste. This movie is most notable for me simply because I very clearly remember one of the students squaring up with Jason, and he's this big tough kid is a boxer, and he starts boxing Jason, and he's like hitting to little to no effect, and then finally kind of rocks Jason's head back a little bit, And then Jason winds up and punches his head off.
Yeah, it's an iconic Jason moment.
It really is. So now we're finally fucking getting close to it. Okay, in Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, 1993.
Another one I think I saw.
Yeah, Jason, through an unexplained resurrection, is hunted by the FBI at Crystal Lake. The FBI sets up a sting that successfully kills Jason. Through possession, Jason manages to survive by passing his black heart from one being to the next. It is revealed that he has a sister and a niece, and that he needs them to get his body back. Jason resurrects himself, but his niece stabs him with a mystical dagger, and he is dragged into hell.
Oh.
And that is the end of Jason 9, setting up Jason X,
which begins in hell.
A mere 8 years later.
Wow, it took a break. They really spent time on this one.
Yes.
Are we going to do a recap? I feel like we're not going to do a recap.
I've got the Wikipedia plot recap up.
Okay.
Which we can go through that. I don't know, man. This movie is real bad. And it's not even really explicably bad, like a lot of our bad shit where you look at it and go, oh, none of these people were good at what they did.
Yeah.
You know, these people were making weird, insane choices. They didn't know how to work. This movie is, as we discussed on text, this is like early 1990s syndicated TV show quality acting, directing, writing, lighting.
Lighting, yeah.
Lighting is a huge part of this movie where it just fails. The music is intensely bad.
It's also, as far as costuming, the most 2001 thing you have ever seen in your fucking life.
Yeah, this movie is set in the year 2455, I think, but also at the same time in January of the year 2000, probably the second week, based on the close.
Yeah.
Like it has such time-stamped clothing for all the future people.
Any one of those kids could have had a role on season 6 of Dawson's Creek very easily. I would have believed it.
Yeah. But not like
extra.
A role.
An extra.
They would have been at like the Halloween party.
Where Jack was a vampire, yes.
Yeah. It's very bad. So at some point in the future,
I did want to point out, I almost texted you, but I didn't. When there's a certain point. Oh, go ahead. Maybe you'll mention something.
Okay. It says 2010 here. In 2010, after numerous failed attempts to kill Jason,
they were all successful.
Well, I don't know. Depends, you know.
Well, yeah, true. Leaving him chained at the bottom of Crystal Lake, where he came out of, he's probably not going to kill him.
Yeah, there's actually a little monologue about it, how we tried to electrocute him, we tried firing squad, hell, we even tried hanging him, whatever. So Jason can't be killed. Some government doctor, they've captured him, he's all chained up and shit. They are going to put him in a cryogenic chamber to not kill people, but still not be dead. Because they can't figure out how to kill him. My answer would be, I don't know, fire him into the sun. I mean, worst case scenario, he can't come back.
They wanted to study him, though, right?
Yeah,
and his regenerative properties.
Well, that's where the problem comes in. So then David Cronenberg shows up, and he's a creepy government doctor who's like, well, I don't know, if this guy clearly regenerates, we ought to be able to study him, and we're going to transport him to another prison. So prep him for that. And then everything goes bad and Jason kills everybody. I mean, you know, it's just
very expected. That first.
Yeah.
This is when I was still young and dumb and thought this movie might be a movie. And
yeah,
I was like, so clearly when they come in and he's chained up like that, that's the kid under there that was just,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
All of the twists are just so visible a million miles away.
Yeah. So one of the surviving people of that massacre lures him into this cryogenic chamber, and starts the chamber to freeze him. And she's like, oh, thank God I got out. And then suddenly, surprise, he machetes through the door
Somehow.
of this cryogenic chamber and stabs her. And also the cryogenic juices leak out and freeze her. And then we cut to the year fucking 2455. And there is the Earth has become way too polluted and dry, like there are no oceans anymore to support life. So now everybody lives in space and on other planets. And so here's this, I guess, what amounts to an archaeological excavation, except they seem to be actually looters.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up. Like this movie was about you, man. There's like a professor and a bunch of students on an archaeological dig.
Yeah, I very specifically do not fuck the students.
I know. That's why I was trying to be careful about how I brought it up.
Yeah, yeah. Good professors do not.
What? Damn it.
And also, we don't get paid for the stuff.
Yeah.
This is apparently a very common misperception. Years ago, when I was teaching in just a broad anthropology, like 101 course, and explaining like, okay, yeah, I'm an archaeologist, blah, blah, blah. We do this and that and this. And one of the students in this course said, and I was talking about how difficult it was to get funding for certain stuff. And one of the students says, well, I mean, don't you guys get a lot of money for selling the stuff you find in museums? No, we get like $15 to $20 an hour to dig holes in the ground.
Yeah,
and
a good find might get you a little more funding next time, but you're not getting
the museums and archaeological repositories don't pay us for stuff. It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
I mean,
to some extent,
but not really for science.
But not for science. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they show up to loot. It turns out that because of the cryogenic chamber and the leak in the cryogenic chamber, the lady can be resurrected and unfrozen, and so can Jason. Oh, by the way, what's this on his face? This is what you call a hockey mask, which I'm really excited to see the sport outlawed this year.
Yeah, 2024, they outlawed hockey.
Yeah.
This is the year I was choosing to follow hockey, so bad luck for me.
Yeah. So they take her and Jason back up to the ship. They do medical scans. It turns out that Jason's like regenerating like a motherfucker as he thaws. They got a new Jason power. Yeah. A new Jason power or an old one? I don't know. I read a thing that said this is the first movie where they medicalize as opposed to mystify about Jason's powers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Jason X is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember it ever being mentioned before. Yeah, it was just like a mystery, but whatever.
Yeah, it was just he can't die.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's fucking undead. Like undead. Like at least that's what I assumed. Undead.
So they're like, yeah, we gotta investigate this because it can do cellular regeneration. There's an android. She is a quote sexy lady android.
Yeah, she looks kind of like Kate McKinnon as the fucked up Barbie.
Yes,
with like red hair.
That is exactly right.
Shout out to my wife for making that call.
Oh,
it's true.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Your wife.
Hey, she needs credit. She sat through this fucking thing.
Also, as I said the other night, I apologize. I am surprised that you are not currently in court for your divorce.
Yeah. I believe I owe her, since she watched Alien Romulus without me. She wants me to watch it, so you're going to benefit from it, and I'll actually be able to talk about Alien Romulus with you soon.
Okay, cool.
Not that I didn't want to watch it, but
yeah, man. I'm sorry to Farah.
Yeah. The whole time she just is looking on her face like, why am I here?
Yeah. I probably had the same look on my face. So anyway, Jason thaws, like breaks free of his restraints, gets a giant chrome surgical machete.
I guess.
It's a giant machete that's chrome and on a tray with a bunch of like normal scalpels.
You know, see, here's the fucking. This is a perfect example. This could have been funny.
Coulda.
When he picked it up, you're like, that's not a surgical implement. That's weird. But if they had like arrayed the instruments and it slowly pans over them, and you've got like scalpel and all these real things, and then you end with this ridiculous looking thing that looks like a machete, and he picks that, I'd be like, huh, because he's Jason, he likes machetes.
Yeah, he loves a machete, sure.
Instead,
as opposed to you see a tray with like 4 tools on it, one of which is the giant machete.
Yeah, you don't see the other tools. You're assuming, they're scalpels and shit, but
yeah,
they're small and they don't matter. And so he picks up this thing that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and is stupid, which would be funny in the right context, but in this context, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. Also, I think it's around this point that we learn the android wants to have nipples, and they're made of metal.
Yeah, that's what all the jokes are. They're out of place, throwaway. It's like, I don't know. What are you trying? I don't know. Sorry.
I agree.
Unhappy size.
Yeah, it really is. So we thaw out the lady scientist from the beginning. Her name is Rowan. And she's like, no, you can't fuck with Jason. He can't be killed. He's a monster. And then they're like, oh, no, we aren't doing that. Don't worry about that. It's fine.
You're perfectly safe here.
Yeah, it's
she adapts, okay, by the way, to life 400 years after very quickly.
Because there is literally nothing about this life except for different about this life, except for the fact that it takes place on a space station.
Yeah.
The people are in absolutely no way different than Kevin Bacon when he was killed by Jason in 1982.
Yeah, it's true.
They are horny teens who want to have premarital sex and do drugs. And also a nice Stephen Bruce cameo.
In 82's version, yeah.
No, in this one. I thought the guy who was tending the plants looked a lot like Stephen Bruce.
I've already forgotten.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, so then Jason wakes up and
okay.
Everybody fucking dies. Eventually, the main professor is like, oh no, Jason's here and he caught me. Oh, he just wanted his machete back, and this is a funny line. And then he gets killed. The fucking spaceship's gonna blow up, and they escape onto.
Before we skip over to the special forces they have to like go get him are the dumbest morons you've ever seen put on in a uniform. Like, for one thing, they split up and do it one at a time, which
classic.
I know you've got to do, but man, you don't actually have to do it.
Yeah, you don't. There's one neat special effects thing where Jason right after he wakes up, Jason shoves a girl's head into a liquid nitrogen bath and then smashes it on a table.
His assault on her is like very, I want to say, realistic looking. Like, it looks like he's really hurting her.
Yeah.
Which, once again, if you're trying to do a comedy, that's not what people want to see.
Not the move.
If you're trying to do a horror, fine, but like, make it a horror movie then.
Yeah. The special forces guys all die. Eventually, the couple of remaining students are saved in large part by the fact that this android lady watched The Matrix 2 years beforehand.
Sure. She got an upload, is what they say when I think they meant to say upgrade.
Yeah.
Unless it was a sex joke, which maybe it was, because I'm pretty sure the dude fucked her while he was upgrading her.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably both.
Yeah, he probably,
Yeah. So she turns into Trinity from The Matrix, and it's like...
Trinity, as played by Kate McKinnon, as the fucked up Barbie.
Crazy Barbie, yeah. So the ship's about to explode. Oh, yeah, at some point it accidentally, because Jason kills the pilot, it flies through a space station and, like, destroys it.
Yeah, apparently...
that's fun.
The ship is made of, like, diamond while the space station is made of aluminum foil because the ship just rips through the space station and isn't damaged at all.
Yeah. So then they're going to be rescued by another ship, except it might explode. They got to disconnect this nonsense and blow some. They got to blow some connecting lines, and oh no, it's all Jason's killing them. And then they finally get away, and this new ship shows up and like docks with them, and they finally get out there. And then Jason's just about to come in, and the lead special forces guy.
Is that the guy from Stargate?
Maybe. He is the one actor in this that I recognized from, like, his name is Peter Mensah, and he has been in tons of shit, like just piles and piles of stuff that I've seen. Probably because he has like something like 48 abs.
Yeah, there's blood, huh?
There's the scene where he's getting sewed up because Jason stabbed him. And the dude has a truly unbelievably ripped torso. He's in Gladiator 2. That's exciting. Anyway, so he ends up saving him because Jason's is about to pound on the new spaceship door, and then this guy like fucking sails in from off screen and like grapples with Jason, and then they fly into the atmosphere of Earth 2. And burn up on the way down, and then
or do they?
Yeah, and then we cut to some teenagers by a lake in the woods on Earth 2, and they see this beautiful shooting star. Oh, it landed in the lake. Let's go check it out. And then we see Jason's mask settling into the bottom of the lake. Oh yeah, at a certain point, Jason was killed, except he wasn't killed, and then the fucking nanotech bed that reattached the guy's arm rebuilds him stronger, faster, etc. with a metal mask.
Which leads us to the most important part of this discussion: how cyberpunk is Jason X. And I think, although it's bad, it's actually very cyberpunk.
I think it philosophically is not at all cyberpunk.
Philosophically, fine, but aesthetically, because like it's got a dystopia. Post-apocalypse.
Post-apocalypse, okay, sure.
And they kind of hint at dystopia, hockey being outlawed. I wouldn't want to live in that world. Just kidding. I don't care that much about hockey.
Yeah.
And it's got body modification. Jason gets full-on cyber arms and a cyber skull.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got capitalism run amok with these
sure, okay,
researchers desperate for cash for no reason. I was talking about this with Farah. Like, a good movie would show this guy, he's got somehow show that he has debts, or he but he literally says, "Damn, I need money."
Yeah,
I
need money, and I need to sell this. I need to sell this guy.
His character motivation is, "Damn, I need money."
Yeah.
Oh man, it's awful. But yeah, there's your capitalism run amok. So I think it counts.
I mean, I can't disagree with anything you said, except for the fact that less thought went into this than maybe any other movie we watched.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with an argument, and I can't.
Yeah, and I feel that there is at least some level of thinking inherently involved in Cyberpunk. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, but yes, and it's Inception. I agree, but we all know that the genre we love has mutated to become basically a skin.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, actually, maybe one more thing. The best part of the movie is like 10 minutes before the end, to distract Jason. One of the students sets up this holographic simulation in front of him, and it simulates. I think it was supposed to say Crystal Lake 1980, so it's like a simulation of the first movie, except because nobody cared about this film at all, like the people who wrote the script, the people who said the lines or anything. It was Crystal Lake 1908.
Are you serious? I didn't even notice.
I am dead serious. But it's like the original. God, I cannot face the psychic violence of looking at that page. So then Jason's like trapped in this simulation of Camp Crystal Lake in 1980, and
it's kind of a fun gag. It could have been better.
It's like, and honestly, it could have been. This should have been half the fucking movie. These remaining, cut down the previous hour and 10 minutes of this movie to 45 minutes. And then have another 45 minutes of the students like racing around trying to set up Jason in these fake scenarios and distract him while they're trying to fix the ship or something. Yeah. Instead, it's a mildly funny bit where like there are these two sexy camper girls who walk up to who Jason walks up to, and they're like, "Hey, we love premarital sex and drugs."
Yeah,
and
this is like the one scream moment of the movie.
Yeah. And then they hop into sleeping bags, and then you cut to
then he beats them.
You cut to the student saying it's working, and then he cuts back, and you see Jason swinging one loaded sleeping bag into the other.
This is one of two jokes that I laughed at. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a fun bit.
The other one I laughed at was. Well, I chuckled. I wouldn't say laugh. Was when the plant tending guy was talking about the past, and he says something about the Microsoft Wars.
We were beating each other to death with our own severed limbs.
Yeah, so there's some potential moments, but yeah, the sleeping bag, and then he's hitting it against a tree. That was brutal, but it was clearly nobody in it. Like that's the kind of comedy violence we like to see.
Yeah. Anyway, this movie is very bad. It is not worth anybody's time. I would love it if somebody could come up with like reasons that I am wrong.
I think it's a bunch of people who saw it when they were very young and laughed at the just stupidity of it, and then kind of had a warm feeling as adults, because anybody who watches it as an adult, like other than those two things, it's not funny at all. The jokes are all super corny and out of place. Like Nightmare on Elm Street is a funny horror movie, right? Like Freddy says funny things, but not all the Nightmare on Elm Streets are good either, but none of them that I remember are this bad. Maybe I'm looking at that through rose-tinted glasses. I don't know.
Well, one of them was directed by high-tech low-life friend Rachel Talalay of Tank Girl.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. We should watch that.
Yeah, I don't remember which one. Maybe it's Dream Warriors. Not sure.
Well,
all right. You want to hear some of? Okay, here's some things about this movie that make this seem like it might be a good movie for us to cover. Jason X.
Okay.
So the director, this guy named James Isaac, he died a few years ago. He worked primarily in special effects. He only directed 4 movies, but he worked primarily in special effects. Do you know some of the movies he worked on?
No.
Okay, number 1, his first credit as creature technician, Star Wars: Return of the fucking Jedi.
Oh wow.
His second credit, creature crew, Gremlins.
Oh, love it.
Third credit, Enemy Mine.
Oh, but I remember that movie. I watched it once with you. I think.
Yeah, probably. Fourth credit, House 2, The Second Story.
Oh, I mentioned that the other day. Yes,
we did. Yeah. Number 3, Look Who's Talking 2.
Okay. Yeah, they made the baby's mouth moves. I guess that was cool.
Okay, so then we're coming up into the real shit. 1995's Virtuosity.
Oh, I'm on his IMDb now. I see some coming up. Yeah, Virtuosity.
And finally, 1999, Existence.
Yeah, so he's been on the show before in a way.
Yeah, he also worked on The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly, and Naked Lunch. I mean, so theoretically, this guy should be able to do something interesting. He didn't in the terms of this film, though.
He also directed Pig Hunt. Don't know anything about it.
I
He directed
see
it.
that. Don't know what it is. 2008. It appears to be a large, scary pig. So Jaws, but a pig?
Jaws, but a pig.
Jaws, but a pig.
Oh, you know one thing that I did like about this movie? It came in blessedly under a tight 90.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
And I think we're going to join it this week. So let's do the rating and get the fuck out of here.
I want to really quick address the budget and box office. Like I said,
yeah,
like
we do need to do that.
this is like a $15 million movie. It made $17.1 million at the box office. And it opened April 26, 2002. After having been delayed like 2 years. It was initially supposed to open in like 2001 at some point. There is The Scorpion King in its second week, beat it at the box office.
Fair.
Changing Lanes, which, as you might recall, was Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson at number 3. Jason X was at number 2. Then we go down the west quite a ways. Panic Room, the David Fincher, Jodie Foster film, is at 7. Then, like, there is just fucking nothing. The Salton Sea is at 16. That's
Just
a hell of a movie.
A desert of movies, and it still couldn't hit number 1.
Yeah. Death to Smoochie, Queen of the Damned, Super Troopers at number 22.
It's been out a while at that point, I'm guessing.
Yeah, in its 16th week, maybe. And Mulholland Drive, movie I just watched a couple of months ago, was at 24, having been out for 200 days.
Wow. Still in theaters.
Yeah.
They were desperate.
Okay, let's rate this fucking bitch and get out of here.
Okay, Jason X. Story. What a
0.
tale it was. Got to give at least 1.
Do I? Okay, I hate that.
Or at least point something.
Okay, I will give the story of this movie 0.2.
I'm going to give it more because this is the only thing it has a chance of even having anything on. If there's a super scary serial killer, he gets cryogenically frozen and then is run amok on a spaceship. The story outside of the telling of it could be interesting, right?
It could. However,
This movie's just basically Aliens, right?
Yeah, it really is. Actually, and that's something that they very specifically said.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, then I can't give it anything because it's ripping off Alien badly.
Yeah, they wanted it to be Alien, but with Jason. And they didn't understand that a big part of what makes Alien and Aliens and even Alien Resurrection and Alien 3 super effective is the fact that not everything is brightly and flatly lit. You have shadows on the spaceship.
It's not lit like a WB fucking superhero TV show.
Yeah.
1.
I mean, like, I get what you're saying in terms of, like, we have to give it something like, okay, cryogenically frozen, serial killer gets resurrected. On the other hand, I feel like it even failed at that remit. They didn't do anything that they just didn't do anything with it other than literally just that.
Yeah, you're right. Influence?
God, I hope none. If it had any, I am unaware of it.
Other than the fact that I've heard people say they liked it, which I guess doesn't count as influence.
Yeah.
Or not that they liked it, but that it was the best of the Jason. Whatever. What am I talking about? It's 1.
I don't know. Yeah, it's 1.
Prescience now. Prescience. World being destroyed because humanity. That's pretty common theme.
Hockey is outlawed.
Hockey being outlawed.
I mean, that's happened.
It's happened.
So. Ripping off the Matrix. I mean, I guess that's pretty prescient. Like, people will still be doing that.
Yeah.
People will still be doing that in the year 2455.
And
so I'm going to
Alien.
Yeah, okay. Good point.
That's not what the prescience category is about, but I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah, I think it's a 1.
Style?
Well, it is impeccably styled to the height of the second week of January 2001.
I think for that, I'm going to give it a me give it a 1.
Yeah, it's definitely a 1.
And as far as 1 to 5 hand raisers, how much did you enjoy it?
Okay, now the fact that this is, and you've said this on literally every episode, you have said it is 1 to 5 hand raisers, so I cannot give it a 0 or even a 0.1. I'm going to have to go with 1.
I think I'm going to have to agree on the rating of 1.
Like,
do we have any other ones across the board? I just have to look. Yes, we do. Cyborg. Nope, Cyborg got a 2 in prescience.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're seriously, this is
Cyber Vengeance. I gave it a 1.25 hand raisers, so
yeah, those movies are making some choices. They might not be good choices, but they are making choices which scores at least a little bit. I mean, you know, when you feel like this is like an AI written fucking movie.
It is. Yes, it really is.
Written, directed, acted. This is exactly the
what
fucking
AI
problem with large language model fucking AIs. There is nothing to this.
There is nothing. Like, I keep thinking back to Cyborg, and anytime we think of it, I remember that like bad claymation of her cyborg head. Yeah. And that's a memory.
and as dumb as it is, like, dude, somebody was making a real choice. Like, well, obviously we have to fucking crucify Jean-Claude Van Damme on a ship mast.
Yeah.
And then he has to, like, you know, it's like somebody, like, there is a clear attempt at something there. It's a bad attempt, but it is attempting something.
We gave a movie 0. Both of us gave it 0s of hand raisers.
Wait, okay, did we?
It was Lawnmower Man.
Okay, well,
Lawnmower Man, we were angry. We gave,
yeah.
Sorry, I gave it 1. You gave it 0.5. Influence, I give it 3. Why? You gave it 1.5. Prescience, we both gave it -5. Style, we gave it 0. Hand raisers, we gave it 0. We were not happy with Lawnmower Man.
I think maybe that -5 pushes down the whole total.
I think Lawnmower Man might be worse than this, because Lawnmower Man, if you'll recall, was like 2.5 fucking hours.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder, not enough to actually watch it, but I wonder if the theatrical cut of Lawnmower Man would have scored higher for us, because, you know, but anyway, yeah, this movie is this is in the Lawnmower Man depths of
definitely
the dungeon.
I hate to say this is worse than Lawnmower Man, because I remember being really upset having to sit there and it just kept going on
for
and on
so
and on.
long. Yeah, this movie was blessedly short.
Yeah, that might edge it as our second worst thing we've covered, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you've hung around with us, we're going to keep this blessedly short. We're at a tight 90 right now, and I got a heart out anyway. So,
and I've got, any guesses?
You've got
a heart on.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know.
I thought you had something valuable to say, but
I felt like I had to say that just because
you're 8 years old inside.
Yeah.
Next week, we are going to be doing a mailbag episode. We've got, over time, collected some questions and stuff that we haven't been able to address on air, which we like to do and give the community a chance to have your voice heard. So you have a few days left before we record that as this is released. If you'd like to get something in, please hit us up on X, the Everything app. You can hit us up on Bluesky. You can email us, hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com. If you're a Patreon member, there's a thread there. You can go leave a post on it or DM us any of those places. You can send a telegram.
Mm-hmm.
We have we would actually love to get a voice message, which is on our Linktree /hightechlowlife.
Yes.
There's a way to leave a voice message via your probably computer or phone.
Yeah. And we will, at least theoretically, be recording this episode on November the 3rd.
Yes.
So get your suggestions in, hopefully by the 2nd. We usually record in the afternoon, Central Time, but, go for it so we can kind of go through the shit before we record it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. If not, we'll try to shoehorn it in one way or another, but yeah, I think it'll also be fun when we do that we've done 66 of these, I believe. It'd be fun to go back through and see how some of these properties have settled in our memories.
Yeah, and I think honestly, that makes me think that maybe Jason X was a good choice, because it has caused us to reckon with what were the horrible things.
Yeah. What were the horrors we faced?
Yeah.
AI movie is a good way to sum up Jason X. It really feels like it wasn't made by people with any care about the art form or medium whatsoever.
Yeah, it was just fucking paint by numbers as a film.
Yeah. All right, after that, we are going to do a book episode, which I will insert the title of here.
Yes.
It's Eric from the future. We have decided we're going to be covering the book Hardwired by Walter John Williams. It's been requested several times, and also one I've been curious about for a long time, so that should be exciting. Hardwired.
Because we haven't fully decided on it at this moment, but we will soon.
We will by the time this episode gets released.
Yes. All right. That's it. Did you even bother to pick a fucking quote from Jason?
I just seconds ago entered the IMDb quotes section, and I picked one which I feel is deeply appropriate. Said by the character Janessa. Oh, this sucks on so many levels.
Accurate. Goodbye, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Bye. Okay, bye.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
Keep it moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's go.
They're trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! Trashing! Trashing!